welcome to Brisket Pie, proudly brought to you by Leftovers. Making sure that whatever roast meat you have and gravy left over from, or the juices from your roast, is what we're going to make this pie from. In our case, it's brisket. And we have some compound butter in the fridge, or the freezer, and we'll use some of that. This one is a herb and garlic. So we're going to start by melting this butter in a pot, and then we're going to add in our juices or our gravy to make and thicken up for our pies. In this case, these were the leftover juices from our brisket, and we're going to make sure that we take off the layer of fat that has risen to the top. So we don't want all that in our pie. So we're going to scoop that all out. Pour that into our pot with our compound butter. You don't have to have compound butter, normal butter will do just fine. We're going to make sure we get all those herbs from the bottom of the jug, and then we're going to get our leftover roast meat, in this case brisket. We're going to empty the contents of what we had into a pot, but don't do what I did and make the mistake of having a pot too little. So we're going to transfer the contents into a larger pot. So once we've finished transferring the contents into a larger pot, we want to reheat that and bring it to a thicken. And to help thicken it, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of flour in our case, but it depends on how much leftovers you have and how much gravy you have. Depends on how much flour you're going to add to it. We want to preheat our oven at 180 degrees Celsius. And then in this case, we're going to a nice cheating way of using puff pastry and cut it to size. When you cut around the pie tin like this, you are using this part for the lid of the pie. You're going to have to cut a base a little bit wider than the actual pie tin itself, so it goes down into the bottom. In this case, I used a bowl from the cupboard, which was way too big and had a lot of excess, but you can trim that excess, no worries, with a knife around your tin, just like that. Cool. And then we're going to get our gravy and meat. After it's all heated up, I'm going to put that into the bottom of our pie. You can wet the edges of your pastry, but I find it sticks just fine once you press it down with a fork and gives it some nice homemade look to it. We're going to make sure we poke some holes in, let all that air escape while they rise in the oven. Tray. In this case, our leftovers had enough to make 8 large pies and 6 very small pies with a muffin tin. You don't have to have pie tins, you can use muffin tins or little cupcake tins to make party pies. So there you have it, delicious brisket pies.